Good morning, Fedor. To start with, can you just tell us your name, uh, what you do in academia, and what you specialize in?
So my name is Fedor Benevich, and I work at University of Edinburgh. I'm a lecturer in philosophy. I specialize in Islamic philosophy, properly speaking, and I worked on what is sometimes referred to as classical Islamic philosophy and post-classical Islamic philosophy. Most recently, I was working on the philosophy of the tradition called Kalam.
Okay, thank you. And can you tell me how you first came across Ibn Sina and what kind of impact he had on you?
Yeah, I honestly do not remember when I heard the name of Ibn Sina for the first time. I do remember, though, when I read Ibn Sina for the first time in original, in Arabic. It was during my MA studies in Tübingen. So my professor back then, Heidrun Eichner, she gave us Ibn Sina's treatise on demonstration, which is about his theory of science. And I remember how I was amazed by his philosophical rigor and clarity and precision and ingenuity. So I decided to devote my research from then to Ibn Sina, and I wrote my PhD on his logic and metaphysics.
And who was Ibn Sina? And can you describe a little bit about the time he lived in and also what he's known for in the West?
So his full name is Abu Ali al-Ḥusayn ibn Sina. Actually, it's a bit even longer than that. Let's stick to Abu Ali al-Ḥusayn ibn Sina. In the West, he's known under the name of Avicenna. That's because when his treatises were translated into Latin, his name Ibn Sina, partially because of how it is pronounced in the Spanish dialect of Arabic, was rendered as Avicenna. From Ben Sina, they went to Ben Sina and then Avicenna, probably. As a linguist, not 100% sure. But so he had enormous impact on the history of philosophy and science, especially medicine in the West. So to say, broader audience, he was mainly known for his achievements in medicine. Um, he lived in so he was born around 980, maybe a little bit earlier, in a small village next to Bukhara, and he died around 1037. So this is 428 Islamic calendar. His time can be characterized as time of kind of political turbulence. This is the time when Abbasid Caliphate, is increasingly decentralizing. So Avicenna had to travel a lot, partially because of this political turbulence, trying to flee from war. But in a way, this decentralization also had, so to say, kind of positive effect on his life and on the life of many scholars and philosophers at that time, because scholars just had more places to stick to for acquiring patronage and grants for their scholarship. So it was not just Baghdad, the center of Abbasid Caliphate, where they could go to study. In many other places in which Avicenna also lived, you could have libraries, have scholarly circles around you, and this is precisely how Ibn Sina's life looked like.
Yes, and what do you consider to be his greatest achievements, and how have they contributed to the sum of human knowledge?
So, as I said, he is mostly known for his achievements in medicine and philosophy. So, if you go on Google, Google will say that Ibn Sina, he was a philosopher and a physician. Let's start maybe with medicine because it's maybe easier to describe. So he wrote this book called Canon of Medicine, which is extremely important in the history of medicine. It was translated in the 13th century into Latin, and it became the textbook for studying medicine until more or less the 17th century, so until quite late periods in the history of science. And we should understand that until the time of Ibn Sina, there wasn't any comprehensive handbook of medicine at all. There were treatises written by Galen, a physician from ancient Greece. There were treatises also written by other Muslim famous physicians like Abu Bakr al-Razi. But Ibn Sina's main achievement is this creation of this huge, it's multi-voluminous work, comprehensive presentation of the science of medicine as it was known at that time. There's lots of theorizing about what medicine is, how medical practice should look like. So that's why this book became inalienable from any kind of curriculum at either European or non-European universities for centuries. Now in philosophy, and because I'm a philosopher, it's kind of dear to my heart, I don't think there is any way to underestimate Ibn Sina's influence on the history of philosophy. It doesn't matter whether we are interested more in the history of European philosophy or in the history of Islamic philosophy. Either way, Ibn Sina is extremely important. So for European philosophy, just as Canon of Medicine, his treatises on philosophy, many of them were also translated into Latin, and they had a detrimental impact on the philosophy, on late medieval philosophy, on authors such as Thomas Aquinas, and later on in any history of medieval Latin Christian philosophy. In Islamic East, Ibn Sina is just the philosopher. So for philosophers who wrote their treatises after the 12th century of the Christian era and until nowadays, Ibn Sina remains the main philosopher who replaced the authority of Aristotle, Plato. For centuries, you didn't need to refer to Aristotle and Plato anymore because you already got Ibn Sina, and he has way better things to say than Aristotle and Plato. So Ibn Sina was the representative of philosophy. So if you wanted to engage with philosophy, you had to read Ibn Sina for centuries to come.
Wow. Well, thank you very much, Fedor. On behalf of the Muslim Institute, we're really looking forward to hearing you expound more on Ibn Sina and his canon of work at the inaugural Muslim Institute Ibn Sina lecture, The Philosopher's Philosopher from the Golden Age of Islam, Friday, 26th of April, 2024, 5 o'clock at Leeds Town Hall. So until then, thank you very much, Fedor. That's really interesting. We're really looking forward to hearing you speak more on.
Thank you very much. I'm looking forward to it.